1, 2, 3, 4. Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, it's that time of the month again, and what a way to wrap up the year with the final tier list of 2021, and the first time both Japan and Global's timelines will be synced, and we'll be doing a joined tier list. So no longer will we need to do the Japan tier list and the global tier list, but now we just have one tier list. And I gotta say, there is a lot to talk about. There's a lot. I think there's 15 new characters that we need to talk about today. But I thought, hey, what better way to wrap up the year with the final video of the year. Before we begin though, I want to wish everyone a big happy new year. Like I said in my top 10 best summons, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that video out. It's been a bit of a rough year for most. And if it has been a rough year, keep your chin up. Things will get better. But it has been a great year for the channel, and I want to take this time again to thank everyone that has supported me along the way. From the Discord boys, to the members, to the subscribers, to just anyone that clicks on a video. I want to send my deepest appreciation to you guys. And be excited for big things to come in 2022. We've got some competitive gameplay moving forward. We've got some guest appearances and some other channels that I'll be working with as well as obviously all our regular content and tier lists and news videos and stuff like that too. So if you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. And while you're down there, smash that like button too, you know. Helps me out quite a great deal. And it's free. You can change your mind later, right? So smash the like button, hit the big red subscribe button. With that said, let's dive in. Now, before we do begin, this is just my personal opinion with playing the game, utilizing these legends on both the Japan and the global on my global account. If you have a disagreement in your opinion, let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear it. Keep it professional, keep it friendly, and let's have a discussion. That's the point of these videos, right? I did create this tier list as this is my Japan tier list, and I have sort of taken the characters out. We will make some tweaks, obviously, but big shout out to the OPTC database for the images provided as well. But like I said, just be mindful, this is my personal opinion on these particular characters. I like to rank these characters on usability, how useful they are in the game, in the hardest pieces of content, stuff like Garbs challenges, stuff like Forest, stuff like Arenas, regular gameplay, and just like a character as a whole, how powerful their specialist, their captain ability, and we do have a bunch of tiers. So we're going to quickly go through that, see if we need to make any changes, and then we'll start talking about the new units. For the first category is needs a 6+ or a Dookie. Basically, you can just rarely shop these units, like, they're just so outdated, or they need a 6+. These rare recruit tier characters, they still hold a viability in terms of you can use them, but like, there's just other options that are just better. Support tier, I really like the support tier. You basically just want to like max these characters' support and then let them collect dust. As for content requires and niche, these characters are basically good in like one situation, or they do something that's just really good for a particular situation. Like this Blackbeard's only good for like Kizuna super bosses. This Mihawk's good for he's just like end of like the massive damage he can provide. This Rayleigh's great if you're running like fighter cerebral tension, you need to get around barriers and defensive. You guys get what I'm going with this. So this category is basically like Buggy, for example, for duping drops. Jack, like let's just bring this Jack up here, for example. Like this Jack, because he can he can give you extra XP. We're going to talk about 6+ Jack, so he's not on the list. But yeah, you get where I'm going with this, right? The solid hybrid are like guys that like have like an okay captain ability, or they do something that's really good. Like stuff like Stampede Luffy with his paralysis and his despair removal. But unfortunately, like they just don't have that much power, so you just need to hybrid them up just to sort of get the best of both worlds with them. A-tier subs, they're like very good subs. Let's have a quick look in A-tier subs. I think everyone's fine here. Yeah, I think everyone's fine here in A-tier sub. These like guys are good, and like you will see play with them. I would level them up. Anything from like A-tier sub upwards is like pretty decent. I would start leveling these guys up, but I wouldn't like make them a priority. A-tier captains, these guys are pretty good. Like they're not the be-all or end-all. Let's have a quick look here. I do want to make a change here with this Boa. This Boa I am going to drop down to solid hybrid nowadays. She's got a really good super typing, but like she's basically used when you hybrid up with stuff like Roger and other characters. Just because her special just doesn't provide you with that much. This Raiju, I'm going to drop her all the way down here into content and where niche. Content requires a niche. She's only good when you get poison content. That's basically the only time I ever use her myself. So there's just better ways to get around it. If you have like free-to-play Miguel and Hannibal, like I just use that character a lot more whenever I'm running that particular piece of content, like with poison and stuff. As to the rest, you can make an argument that they're all here. I feel like with Odin 6+, he's going to jump up. But for now, we're going to leave him an A-tier captain. Onto S-tier sub. These are some of the best subs in the entire game, but they're predominantly used as subs, and that's basically it. You don't use their captain ability, but as subs, they're absolutely incredible. Now, I do want to drop this Sabo down to A-tier sub, just because I don't think he's as good as the rest of these subs in this tier right here. I'm not saying he's bad by any means, and honestly, like, I would say he's on par with something like this VV Rebecca. I would say he's on par with something like this Germa. So, I just don't think he's on par of these S tier subs anymore. Looking at S tier captains, there's a big change I want to make here. I'm going to drop this guy right here down to A tier captain. I don't think Last Tap Luffy's as an S tier captain anymore. I think everyone in this tier is better than him. Like, Moria is definitely the best of this, like, this batch. But I think, like Born, I think this Snake Man's better than Last Tap Luffy. Like, sue me. Like, I think he's better. Kaido's up here purely because he's an S tier captain. This is a captain sort of situation. And, like, the law states when you have the ability to use V1 Kaido, you use V1 Kaido. That's written in the Bible. So he's going to stay there. Looking at the amazing tier, we've got Law, Straw Hats, Whitebeard versus Shanks. They're both very good. Big Mom, you could probably make an argument to drop down, but she's still a really good sub. Now, this category is designed for, like, characters that not only work great as captains, but they're also very, very good subs. So all of these characters can do that. Straw Hat's special basically does everything. The versatility of Whitebeard and Shanks is very, very good. Final tap of Law and his extra damage is great. The special cooldown of King and Queen are very, very good. I really like them a lot. I think these two characters here are very underrated characters, I feel. Looking at the God tier now, we have Kid, Vivi, Akainu vs Ace, and Fire Tank Pirates. And then in the top 5, broken and most valuable, we have Roger, who I still think is the best unit in the game. We have the Yamatos, as well as Toki and a Sabo. Now, something I want to do with the Yamatos, I just want to do this. Now, don't stress, they're not going anywhere. But with the release of the extra skulls for Yamato, I do think the Yamatos are sort of on par with each other. We will be getting another 100 skulls. I imagine it's 100, but the skulls will be replenishing. So, I don't think you need 2 Yamatos anymore. Like, I definitely wouldn't chase 2 Yamatos like we once thought like it was good to have. Mainly because Rumble's pretty much dead. Sorry, Rumble players. But having 2 Yamatos, and it's like only good if you're running like an defensive team and then you're being offensive and actually grinding PvP. They both do very similar things. And honestly, like if you have one, you have the other. Just buy a bunch of skulls, right? I do want to keep this top 5. And a big reason I'm doing this is to actually squeeze another character up here as well. As seeing is the fact that I don't think they're like I just don't think they're that much different from each other. At the moment, I do think it sits very similar to this. If you made an argument to me for Toki to be the best unit in the game, I would accept it. If you made an argument for me for Roger to be the best unit in the game, I would accept it. For me, I think Toki is the best unit in the game for an established player. For 75 to 80% of the player base, though, Roger is going to be a better character. Roger's just going to carry you through so much more gameplay than Toki is. But in all other aspects of the game, if we're looking at Kizuna Super Boss, arenas, just clearing stuff with established blocks that you have access to a lot of supports and stuff like that, you can easily just use the Toki ability, avoid a bunch of mechanics, get a 3.5 times attack and orb boost, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, see you later. Toki just does it all for you. Especially Dex content, Toki's just an absolute god. In terms of like a valuable unit, I think Toki's the most valuable unit in the game. In terms of like the best, I do think Roger is. So for me, I'm going to do this. Shout out to my boy Sim. I know he's going absolutely berserk right now watching this particular part of the video. So, let's scroll all the way back down here and let's take a look at the characters that we are missing. Now, let's ignore all of these characters here because I have no idea how to delete them. And let's start with my boy Kizzaro. Now, Kizzaro is actually pretty interesting. He is a Dex, Strength, and Quick captain. He gives 2 turns of cooldowns at the start of the fight. And for that reason, I want to put him in A tier captain. He's really good at speedrunning content. Getting 2 turns of cooldowns is nothing to shrug at. The fact that you can have 2 of them and get 4 turns, he gives cooldowns with his special. When he uses his special, he's a 5 times captain. But the big downside to this unit is he doesn't make orbs matching, he doesn't have healing, he doesn't have damage reduction. So that kind of sucks. But for clearing content quickly, I do think that Kizzaro is going to be very, very nice. He does have basically built-in fear. He does have fear, but he also has the special rewind and the special bind mechanic. Removal with his sailors. So as a sub, he is very, very strong as well. But I do think you can do some really cool stuff with him in terms of speed running captains. For that like content yet, it hasn't been determined because we haven't had anything relating to Dex. But once we do get that, I do think Kizzaro is going to see a lot of play. Worst case scenario, he's an A tier sub at best, but I do think he could find his way into A tier captain here. Just because of his speed running potential. His utility as a sub though is actually really, really nice though, and I feel like most of the time I use him as a sub. I haven't yet used him as a captain as much as I think I would in terms of his speedrunning potential. So for now, we'll leave him as A tier sub, but I do feel like he is like on the cusp of like becoming, like creeping up here. For now, we'll leave him down here though. All right, let's go down here again, and let's take a look at the 6+. Some of the 6+ that we did get through the Kizuna that just ended against Kizuna Ivankov. So one of the 6+ we got was Jack. Now Jack's big change is he actually got a chain lock. So he got a chain lock with his new kit. He's still an XP booster. I think he got a higher stat boost in terms of his multipliers. Other than that, I think he's pretty much just does all the same stuff. For Jack himself, like, I'm still only ever using this guy as a XP booster. There's no other real reason except for the fact that he now just does it better and has a chain lock in his special, which makes it a little bit nicer to clear content. But I still think it's when content requires. Whenever you're looking to farm XP, Jack's your man, right? Jack's the guy you're going to go for. So for that reason, he's going to stay in content requires. I don't think he needs to move too much, especially with the release of the Beast Pirates as well. Like, there is another Jack in the game now, so that kind of like holds him back a little bit as well. On to Carrot now. Now, Carrot's an interesting one. This Carrot got an absolute monstrous buff. For me, I think this Carrot is, like, the best super evolution in the game. Like, to me, it's not even a competition. I actually recently put together a Arena Crocodile team with the new Roger and Carrot as captain with Frankie, and it's a no-stall team. And, like, I think I've only seen one other team that can do it no-stall. It's actually incredible. Like, it's super, super cool. And the reason that is because of Carrot and her speed farming potential. She's an amazing captain now that you only need fighter, striker, / a shooter, the primary classes, or cerebral in the tag. You don't need both anymore. And when you lose out on her Sulong form, you still get a good buff. So she's very, very good as a captain. She gives 2 turns of cooldowns at the start. She has very good supports, and namely Wanda. But, like, she can also be an orb booster for the team as well. So she's a great captain, and I find myself, like, using her more as a captain. But you could easily argue to me that she's a really good sub because she becomes a 4.5 times captain, as well as becoming captain for 3 turns now, which is absolutely incredible. It helps you get around the captain swap mechanic as well. So if you want to say that she's an S tier sub for me, that is, I will absolutely cop that. Honestly, for me, I really want to put her up in S tier captain, to be honest. Like, I love, for the same reason, like, this, like, Kaido's up here. Like, I really want to slap Carrot up here because she just does something that no one else does. And if you can put the team together, like, well enough, she is very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. You know what? Like, I'm actually going to do that. Like, I'm going to leave her up here. Like, I would rather run Carrot and then hyper her up than run any of these characters down here. Unless, like, you need the paralysis or the despair with, like, Law. I definitely think she's better than Laughed At Luffy, God, for crying out loud. So, for me, I'm going to put her up here in S tier captain just because you can give her those cooldowns. And you can just clear content, like, very, very well. Like, super nicely with the right subs. If you want to say she's not S tier sub, that's fine too. But for me, where I like to use her, it's kind of going to give it the same treatment as V1 Kaido here. Let's go down to the next super evolution, which was 6+ Pudding. Now, 6+ Pudding really didn't get a big buff. She got 2 turns of Blind and Despair. Kind of weird. To be honest, it was kind of weird. But now with the release of like Roger and stuff like that are having like 1 turn in their like utility in their captain, this can actually see some play. But nevertheless, she hasn't really seen too much play with this particular mechanic anyway. And the big reason you're using her is still to stockpile the support, the special, get around the what's it called? The interrupt if like the enemy has one. And for that reason, she just basically goes where she already was, which is an S tier sub. No changes for Pudding at all. She's still very, very good. An amazing sub. Great where she works. And yeah, we're just going to leave her here because she's just very, very good. She's a very, very good unit. Very, very good sub. She did get Sai in her kit, like, for a captain. So you could easily run her as a captain now for Sai. But it's kind of like why, because Sai has more better options. So, look, she rotates block up. She gives cooldowns. She's a great unit. Very, very strong. Alright, on to the legends now. Now, we had these 5 legends here. We had Boa Perona, Mr. Slam Jam Katakuri, Doflamingo, and Lucci. Now, the first character to release was actually Lucci. So, let's start with him. Now, I love this Lucci. Like, I love this Lucci. I think this Lucci is incredible. If you run double Lucci, you can do some wild things because you get, like, a full board of orbs every single turn. He's a 2.5 times orb booster, as well as a 1000 base attack booster. As a captain, he's a 5 times captain to Powerhouse, Fighters, and Dex. Now, the downside to Lucci is he has 2 of the weaker colors and classes. Fighters being arguably the worst class, and Dex being, like, easily the worst color. That's where sort of Lucci drops off. But because he has Powerhouse, he becomes very, very strong. But he's easily the best Dex captain. He's easily the best fighter captain. And honestly, you could easily make an argument to me that he's up there as one of the best Powerhouse captains. He's a very powerful unit. He's super typing, adds 0.3 to an orb boost, which he provides himself. He makes it very easy to get orbs naturally, which is great. And, yeah, he's just an absolute weapon. The way I like to run Lucci is actually run Queen as a sub and then bring a friend captain Queen. Just so, because Queen has the auto trigger of specials, especially when you are using an orb boost. So when you use Lucci, use the Lucci orb boost, you auto trigger Queen. Queen's a bit more finicky because you have to sort of work around that. It's not exactly hard to do, but compared to Lucci, Lucci's just stock solid. If you told me though, between Lucci and Queen, I'm only allowed to run one of them as captain, and you have to run, like, if you run one, like, that's your other captain. For me, it's Lucci every day of the week. Running 2 Queens is nowhere near as valuable as running 2 Luccis, but Lucci also has the ability to completely remove defense up. So moving forward, that is always going to be viable. Always. Completely removing defense up is always going to be very, very good. He does damage. He has very good supports. He's an absolute weapon, and it's CP0 Lucci for crying out loud. He's a goddamn specimen. I love this Lucci. He's awesome. He's actually awesome. I'm a big fan of this Lucci, as you can tell. On to the next characters now. We have Boa and Perona. Now, Boa and Perona are an interesting one. For me, I do really like this Boa, like the Boa and the Perona, right? I think they're very, very good, and they both do very similar. Well, they don't do similar things, but like in terms of what they do, they're very similar to me. I can't really separate them too much in terms of the tier list. Now, with Boa's great because she's a base stat booster for free spirits. Boa is a shooter, quick, free spirit captain, and if you get hit, she gives 7 turns of the Mero ability. And then her super typing adds 15 on top of that, and she does a whole bunch of healing. But other than that, she doesn't do too much else. She's a chain locker, base stat booster, which is great. But with chain boundary being more prevalent rather than chain locking, it's not exactly the be-all, end-all. But she has great utility. She removes attack down by 6 turns. She removes special bind by 6 turns. She's a very, very good sub. As a captain, though, if you like the gameplay and for hard content, she's so good. Like, getting hit, shout out to Garance. I actually just recently watched a video from Garance taking on the Hawkins Forest. Boa did it easy. She did it in like 10 minutes, the whole forest, which is super impressive to me. Super impressive. That forest is hard. And the Mero ability just helps out a lot, because as soon as you take a hit, like, you just apply that Mero ability. It's just, it makes life so much easier, provided there is no full immunity. Unfortunately, though, full immunity does cuck her, and most of the time you are using her as a sub to get around the attack down and the special blind. Also get that base stat as well as the chain lock, which is just a lot of damage for that turn, especially if you're running free spirit. It's a lot of damage. With Perona, she's very similar. She is a free spirit shooter int captain. She's a very low multiplier, though. She's a 4 times multiplier unless you have a condition. And if you have a condition, she goes up to like a 5.2 times captain, roughly. Something like that. As if you have defense down, paralysis, poison, anything like that on the enemy, she adds 1.2, and then if you have the negative ability, she's a 1.25. Her super typing gives the negative ability, her special gives the negative ability, but her special also gives 3 turns of a conditional boost against every condition in the game, and this is very, very good. As a captain, I don't like running this unit. I don't like running this unit at all, but as a sub, this is going to be so good, because not only does she provide them the negative ability, she also rotates block orbs. Yeah, I think she rotates block orbs with her special. She's also a 2-turn chain lock, or 3-turn chain lock, and if you have a chain lock, she extends it for 1 turn, where Boa's 2 turns. So that's really, really good. She gives chain lock and conditional boost, which she also can apply a condition as well. That goes through full immunity as well. That's a big thing as well. If they're below 70%, they go through full immunity. Her super typing automatically goes through full immunity. So she's very, very good. Like a very, very good sub. Not the be-all or end-all. Like, definitely not characters you want to chase. But if you have them, I definitely would level them up, because they are very, very good. I would put them in the back end of this sort of tier list here. If you're looking for hard content, we can definitely say that she's up here. Boa's up here. Worst case scenario, I would put them down here in A tier captain. Perona, when she works, is great, especially in Kizuna, because like it's very easy to do to get those big captain numbers. But otherwise, I feel like they sort of sit here in the S tier subsection. This S tier subsection is getting very crowded, and I don't know how I feel about it. But for now, we're going to move on. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below on the unit so far, and if you think that we should be moving characters because it is getting a little bit crowded, or if we should add some more tiers. You know, who knows? So, let's scroll back down. Let's go back down here. Let's take a look at the 2 super classes that did release on the Japanese side of the game. We do have 3 characters here that we're actually not going to talk about today, which is a bit unfortunate. Go check out my JP tier list, by the way, if you want some more in-depth analysis on these characters as well. I have ranked pretty much all these characters we've ranked already, besides the new units. So if you want to go check out them, link will be in the description. Go check out the playlist. You guys can see the tier list there. But let's take a look at Katakuri and Doflamingo. And I'm going to start with Katakuri because I can't stand this guy. I pulled this guy way too much on the merge banner and then on part 1 of the New Year's SUGO Fest. I don't like this unit. I think this unit, compared to Doflamingo, he's missed the mark so much. For me, he's down here somewhere. But I do need to give the man a little bit of credit because he is a powerhouse booster and he is the super class booster for powerhouse. Now, he's very good because he's a quick powerhouse, but that's not a credit to Katakuri because Katakuri doesn't make quick powerhouse better. Quick powerhouse makes Katakuri better. He is a 5x captain to powerhouse. He is a 2 something orb boost, depending on how much damage you've taken in the previous turn with his special. If you have an orb boost, he becomes a 2.5 times attack boost to powerhouse only, and is a 1000 base stat boost for the powerhouse class, which is great. His captain ability is a 5x captain to powerhouse, 3.75 to everything else, and add all the damage you take, he then heals back 50% the next turn, very similar to V2 Katakuri. I hate that ability. I think it's so dumb. I understand it's got great endurance, it's got great durability, but where it actually is used, it's not that great. It does help him in stuff like Dofi 2 and all these other areas, but there's just other characters that just do better. They just do better without that ability. That ability does help Katakuri beat the content, but there's just other abilities that aren't as intricate and aren't extravagant as that just do things better. So for me, he's an A tier captain. For me, I don't think that he is the best powerhouse captain in the game. The only reason I would put him up there is because he has the base stat boost for powerhouse, but so does Lucci. But he has the super class, right? He's the super class booster, so that's why you kind of have to run him. But at the same time, I would much rather run Kaido, and I hate Kaido. I dislike this V2 Kaido heavily. As another powerhouse captain, I would much rather use Queen. I'd much rather use King. I'd definitely much rather use Lucci. I'd sure as hell like to use Versakana, who's also a quick powerhouse character. And there's just better options, honestly. So for that reason, Mr. Slam Jam Katakuri can stay there in A tier captain because I cannot stand that guy. Oh. As for Doflamingo, though, this is my favorite unit in the entire game. So now we're on a happy note. This unit is awesome. I love this unit so much. And for me, he's God tier. Easy peasy God tier. He's so close to top 5 for me. It's not even funny. Until Croc comes out and then things change. But he's the most fun unit for me. He's my most favorite unit. He's very strong. He's very powerful. And he does things very, very easily. He has 10 turns of special bind removal in his kit. He is a 5 times driven captain, 3.75 times otherwise. He's also the driven superclass booster. Actually, that's something I forgot to talk about with Katakuri. His superclass, he gives you a full board of matching orbs through block orbs with his superclass, as well as extending the orb buff as long as you have any of the Big Mom Pirates or Luffy on the team, or if you've just used 4 specials throughout the run. A big upside to these characters are that they're superclasses. They have 2 conditions to proc. Use 4 specials with Katakuri or have the Big Mom Pirates or Luffy. And with Doflamingo, his is have the enemy trigger a support or use the Don Quixote family or use Law or Luffy as well. But Katakuri, where is he? I can't even look at this man. His super class isn't that extravagant. It does give a 1.2 times base stat boost to that class as well, which includes HP, recovery, and attack. That's what makes him so desirable. But other than that, he's kind of just can't stand this guy. Going back to Dofi now, the much happier note. Doflamingo is awesome. His captain ability, 5 times captain to driven, 3.75 to everyone else. 10 turns of special bind removal, and he also makes Dex and quick orbs beneficial to driven characters as well, which is very, very nice. So he gives orbs, he has utility, he's a very high captain multiplier, and he's technically a rainbow captain as well, which makes him very, very nice. His special does a full orb manipulation, including block orbs into matching. He's a 2.25 times attack boost to driven and orbs. 2.25 times attack and orb boost to driven characters. And if you have an attack and orb boost, he then becomes a 1.4 times chain boost and a 1000 base attack boost. If you don't have an attack or orb boost, he does that, as well as doing a nice big chunky heal as well. So he has endurance with his healing. He gives matching orbs. He does special bind removal in his captain. He's just an absolutely phenomenal unit. With his superclass, He will give 1 turn of cooldown to driven characters and do a whole bunch of damage, which is absolutely phenomenal. As long as you have any of the Don Quixote family, something like SUGO works very, very well. This SUGO is a really good sub for him. You can use any treble unit, you can use Diamante units, you can use Pika units, you can use Luffy's, and you can use Laws as well. But obviously, they don't normally get too much buff underneath Dofi. But you can actually do some pretty cool shenanigans and hybrid these 2 characters up. These 2 characters here. Activate the super class, have the super type of Luffy, and then you can sort of do the double whammy that way. But this particular character here is his best friend. With running hybrid of these 2 characters, you can get the super type, you can get the super class, and with Kid, because he can do that double trigger of his special, you can go bang, bang with Kid, and then you can use the Doflamingo to get the base stats and the chain boost as well, and it all works super nicely. Then you can run Sugar underneath. Sugar gives like the bear mechanic and then gives 0.7 going upwards. And you can just do some crazy things with the Driven class. Driven's got so much support lately. So it's Powerhouse, but like Driven and this Doflamingo for what he does for Driven compared to what Katakuri does for Powerhouse, it's just like, it's like apples and oranges. Like Doflamingo in my eyes is just miles above Mr. Katakuri. It's like this Dofi's awesome. Like this Dofi's so, if you have this Dofi, like, be happy. This Dofi's he's so freaking good. He's so good. Alright, on to the next 2 units, the start of the dual unit era. We have the Nami and Usopp, as well as the Robin and the Jinbe. Alright, so we're going to talk about the Nami and the Usopp first. Now, Nami and Usopp, they're kind of a bit janky. The more I haven't really had a chance to play with them too much on Japan. They're just not my game style, and they do a lot of stuff with delay. They're very similar to Hawkins, and you guys know how I feel about goddamn Hawkins. For me, like, I guess they're probably an A-tier captain at best. Purely because you can get guaranteed delay. They are a free spirit shooter and cerebral captain, I'm pretty sure. They can do color affinity, which is 2.25. Their switch ability is really, really good at removing blind and despair by 1 turn. 2 turns with their super switch. They remove special blind with their switch. Then with their special, they remove special blind. They can remove paralysis with their special. They are quite good. And when they work, you can get a very high captain multiplier. Very similar to Perona. The downside is like, Usopp's a 3.75 times captain. Nami's only like a 4.25 captain. And dual units, they just don't make great captains. They do have the guaranteed delay over 5 million, 3 million if they don't have delay immunity. And then Usopp gets the extra like 1.25 against delay, which is great. You should be able to do some cheeky shenanigans with stuff like the Boa, like the Boa Pirates, the Kizuna one. You should be able to do some cheeky stuff like that. I imagine you can do some cheeky shenanigans with this particular Perona. They do extend, or they give a conditional boost to delay, and then they increase it on their special as well. But for me, like, they're just not my playstyle, and most of the time I'm using them as a sub to remove paralysis and special blinds. For me, they're down here in an A tier sub. I don't really see the paralysis special blind, but their switch ability removing that is really, really good. You can make an argument to me that they are an S tier sub, though, because their switch ability is so damn good, removing blind and despair. They are a Nami unit, so they have a lot of good supports. So you could make that argument to me that they are definitely an S tier sub. But if like you're talking about using them as a captain, I don't think they're up here in this tier, just because they're way too finicky for me. But if you do want to make the argument that they are in S tier sub, I could definitely cop that. For me, I guess they are an A tier captain, even an A tier sub, just because like there's other characters that I just use over them. Like there's other characters that I just don't think about them when it comes to paralysis and special blinds. The combination is a bit janky. You don't see it too much, but nevertheless, it is still there. So, look, whether you want to put them here, whether you want to put them here, whether you want to put them here, for me, it really doesn't matter too much. But for me, like, I just don't ever see myself needing this character. I don't see myself ever using this character. And they're just there. They're a color affinity booster. 2.25 color affinity booster as well. So, they kind of just are what they are. So, we'll put them in A tier captain. We'll meet in the middle of A tier sub and S tier sub. We'll meet in the middle of A tier captain because you definitely can use them as captain. But like I said, like, I don't, like, if you get them to work, they can be good. They can. And that's about all I'm going to say. They're not my games. They're not my playstyle. So, like, I just don't really, I don't want to be too hard on them, and I don't want to give them too much praise at the same time. Looking at Robin and Jinbe, though, this is the unit out of the two that I freaking love. This unit here, for me, is up here and amazing. They just do everything. Like, they straight up just do everything. They not only, I'm just going to put them over here just for the sake, just so we can't see it cut off, because this is who we're talking about, right? We spoke about Lucci, so let's bring Lucci up here as well. They do everything. They remove 6 turns of damage reduction and threshold. They give 2 turns of cooldown. They have special rewind. Their switch ability gives damage reduction and matching orbs. Their super switch gives a full border orbs, as well as 90% damage reduction. They also are a 1000 base attack boost rainbow, which is absolutely phenomenal. They're just incredible. They're a Robin unit, so they've got good supports. They've got Jinbe there, because Jinbe's a goddamn weapon. This unit is a super sub and a half. I would put them just in S tier sub, because that's basically where you use them. But they are a 4.5 times captain to fighters and cerebrals as well. And when Croc comes out, this unit is so god tier. It's like, it's not even funny. But that's because Croc just makes them god tier, not because the unit's god tier itself. For me, they're definitely amazing. I think they're absolutely incredible. They're one of the best subs in the game, and they will hold a lot of viability moving forward. They also remove attack down, 6 turns of attack down. They just do so much. They do so much. They provide you so much defensive capabilities while also giving you that little bit of offensive power with their rainbow base stat boost. And their cerebral, which is just like, what? So very, very good unit. Very, very good sub unit. Can be used as a captain, not the go-to captain. They are a 5 times captain when you are in their dual form though, which is very, very nice. But their switch ability is great. They also have Dex and In Orbs beneficial in their kit, as well as giving the reduced damage by 60% over 10,000. So they give that at the start of the quest for 99 turns. So if you get a content where you don't get hakied, you can just you can tank for days with this unit. With the damage reduction that Jinbe provides and the healing that Robin can provide in their captain abilities too, you guys, you have so much defensive ability with this particular character. They're a very defensive orientated unit. They're not that used that much as a captain, but as a sub, they are just so damn good. Getting 2 turns of special charge is just nuts. Actually nuts. There's not a lot of characters that do 2 turns, and this is one of them. So very, very good unit. Be very, very happy if you pulled this unit. They are very, very powerful. Onto the newer units now. Onto the big ones. The last 4. Let's go. Onto the last 4. Now, I have kept Brook here in content and when niche and where content requires, purely for his revive mechanic. But with his 6+, he actually became fairly decent. Now, I'm going to put him up here in A tier sub, because he now rotates block orbs. He gives a chain buff, which is really nice. He doesn't heal, but he gives end of turn healing, which is very, very good. And he still has his revive mechanic and all that. So Brook can be used as a sub now. I mean, he always could, but he just didn't really do all that much. But I do want to sort of keep this Brook down here just to show you guys that obviously this Brook was once a god. Everyone remembers the zombie Kazuna days, and this Brook was the big part of that. So this Brook, definitely 6+ him. You don't need to keep 2, but just for the sake of the tier list, I want to show that 6+ Brook's good as a sub now. But if you can't be bothered leveling him up, I totally understand. Just keep the 6-star Brook just for those zombie shenanigans, right? Very, very good super evolution. Not the best super evolution, but by far the worst. Not even close. Not even close to the worst super evolution. He got an okay buff, and he's Brook. Everyone loves Brook. Onto the Kazuna unit that came out alongside him, the Kazuna legend, that is the Beast Pirates. Now, when this unit came out, I was like, this is an easy skip. The more I looked at them, the more I liked them. They're kind of like a more viable V1 Kaido, but they are a little bit more intricate in terms of the fact that you do need 6 powerhouse characters to actually get their end of turn damage. And because of that reason, it makes them a little bit finicky with team building. But to get their color affinity, you only need 5. If you have 5 powerhouse characters, you get a color affinity boost to powerhouse, quick, and strength units. And for that reason, I'm going to move them up here into the amazing tier. I do really like them as a powerhouse captain, and you can do some really cool things. Their super switch is very, very unique. They give cooldowns with their special, and they do give damage output with their special as well, being color affinity. Now, the big reason I want to put them up here in amazing is not only they're great in terms of powerhouse, in terms of speed farming, because of their end of turn damage, but their super switch can just give them their special off the bat, which means that you can go into their dual form, and they're basically a stronger version of this guy right here. As Kaido, they do 400 times end of turn damage, and they're a 4.5 times captain to strength, quick, and powerhouse. As the All-Stars, or King, Queen, and Jack, you are a quick unit that does 400 times quick damage as end of turn damage, and a 4.5 times to the same 3. And then, with the super switch, you can you gain the super switch at the start of the quest. You can use the super switch, get their cooldowns to max, use their special, which is a color affinity boost, as well as giving 1 turn of cooldown as well. And once you're in their dual form, you do 600 times. So it's an extra 0.5 damage, and you do whatever color you are is the damage that you do. With this Cairo now, and these two, you basically have Dex, Strength, and Quick covered when it comes to end of turn damage, which is just very, very handy in terms of speed farming stuff like Garbs challenges and older content alike. An upside to them too is you don't have to have the end of turn damage. You can just run like Strength and Dex characters and just have like a very strong, powerful unit. They then have a color affinity captain and then hybrid them up. They're going to be great in Kizuna because they are a color affinity unit, and because they are a driven powerhouse, it means they work amazingly under these two units right here. They're also Strength, which means they come under the super typing, and with these 3 units right here, these 3, you not only have an attack and orb at 2.5, you then have a chain boost and a base stat boost, and then a 2.5 times color affinity for Strength characters, and then you have a super type and a super class. If you're ever coming up against a Strength boss, that combination is just all your damage right there. It's just easy mode in terms of that. You get cooldowns with the Kaido as well, and then cooldowns with Doflamingo. So you can just like speed farm content very, very nicely. The combination just works beautifully, absolutely beautifully. I don't think they are like a top 10 unit by all means. I definitely don't. Even on this list, I wouldn't put them like on the cusp of God tier. Not by any means whatsoever. But they are still a lot of fun. They're very, very good. They are a Kizuna exclusive legend, but they are still a lot of fun, and they are very, very powerful. Very, very cool unit. On to the big 2 now, the New Year's legends. And I got to say, with these legends, a lot of people are underwhelmed and a lot of people are disappointed, but give it time. It's still early. A lot of people are salty about the banners. A lot of people got destroyed on the banners. A lot of people got destroyed on the banners. And look, speaking personally, even though I did fairly well, the banners are dookie, and for a big event like Bandai, you can't keep doing this to your player base. It's not okay. People are gonna keep summoning. I get that because it's riding the hype. Like, look at this. We got a Whitebeard and Roger unit for crying out loud, as well as a V2 Straw Hats with one of the best special animations in the entire game. Of course, people are gonna summon for this. It's goddamn New Year's. People have been saving their gems for this moment, but the banner structure sucks. 50 gem multis, no discounts. The rates were absolute dog water. The fact you didn't even get one of them guaranteed on part 1 after like 25 multis is abysmal. The limited pull steps were way too big. They had trash legends in the limited pull steps, like Hawkins, for crying out loud. Just vomit. And then they back it up with a bogus event where like it's just easy mode. They slap on a banner for Odin, who gets a subpar 6+. Don't get me wrong, like, Odin 6+ is passable, but it's nothing meta game breaking. And then they do us dirty by bringing out 2 dual units. Like, this should have been a verse unit. This is a very, very cool unit. I'm okay with this unit, but like, this is New Year's, Bandai, and what you did to a lot of players, like a lot of people aren't happy, and I'd sort your shit out, to be honest. Like, because people mad. But, nevertheless, we do have 2 very, very good units and 2 very, very interesting units. The first unit I'm going to talk about is the one that I actually managed to pull. Summoning video will be in the description below, by the way. If you want to go check that out, it was a baller of a time. But, Roger, or Whitebeard and Roger, Goldbeard, Robert, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to call them Roger, because I really like saying it. It's a lot of fun. They are very, very powerful. As a captain, they are a 5 times captain in their base forms, 2 strikers and slashers. They make int and sight orbs matching. Roger has utility, where he gives 1 turn of paralysis, special bind, and bind removal in his kit, where Whitebeard is a 5.25 times captain to himself, alongside 5 times captain to everyone else. Their switch ability is one of the most desirable switch abilities in the entire game. They rotate adjacent orbs into matching. And then, they also give a 1.5 times attack and orb boost, Rainbow, to the crew. Dumb. Just absolutely stupid. It's a lot of damage output. Like, it's a lot. Their super switch, after 6 switches, gives a full board of orbs, a 2 times attack boost, and a 2 times orb boost to the entire crew. Absolutely dumb. They have 2 different specials. which are very, very powerful. And for that reason, they're going up here in the broken and most valuable section. I don't think they are the best unit in the game. Which is a little bit sad. I actually think that they're behind Roger. I do think they're behind Yamato. I think they're on par with Ace Sabo. I think they sit on par with Ace Sabo. If you said Ace Sabo is better, I'd accept that. If you said Roger's better, then I would accept that as well. But they are very, very good. Very, very strong unit. Great captain ability, like I said, and their specials are very, very powerful as well. But the big desirable unit is their switch ability. Their switch ability is so damn powerful that it's just absolutely absurd the damage numbers you guys can get as a sub. And that is what is going to keep this guy going for a very long time. Very similar to this particular unit right here and his switch ability. It's going to keep Whitebeard and Roger going for a very extended period of time. Their special, as Roger, will change any attack boost into a 3x attack boost, as well as add 0.5 to any color affinity boost that you do have. As Whitebeard, he does the same thing, turns an orb boost though into a 3x orb boost, and he actually gives a 2x color affinity boost as well. Just absolutely disgusting what these units can do. If you switch and then you pop the Whitebeard version of the special and then the Roger version of the special, you get a 3x attack, 3x orbs, 2.5x color affinity, and you're basically good with 2 units. It's just... there's not much else to say. Like, it's just absolutely offensive domination when it comes to this particular character. And then they have a final tap on top of that as well. Their final tap at level 1 changes up their own orb, including block into matching, as well as adding 2.0 to the chain multiplier. And all you have to do is enter the final stage. Absolutely disgusting. It's such a... these 2 units have the best 2 final taps in the game. Like, I think hands down. At max, Rogers he adds a 4.0 to the chain multiplier. So, at, like, worst case scenario on final tap, if you don't have any chain boosting or chain blocking shenanigans, you're going to be at a 6.5 times chain boost at max final tap. And at level 1, you're going to be on a 4.5. If then you start chucking sugar shenanigans and you have a 3 times chain lock, you're then looking at a 5 times chain lock. You're then looking at a 7 times chain lock. It's just absolutely absurd what this character can do, and they can just carry damage, backhanded damage, just with themselves, hitting so ridiculously hard. They absolutely nailed the animations with this character too. Their super switch has an animation, their final tap has an animation, and obviously their special animation is absolutely incredible, where the 2 pirate kings clash themselves. They are a phenomenal unit. They are very, 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 very good. They are a super SUGO character, unfortunately. One of the first dual super SUGO Fest characters. And they are very desirable. It's Roger and Odin, for crying out loud. Hopefully we see some pretty cool supports for them coming out. We do have the new Ace coming out, who's going to be very, very good under Whitebeard. But like I said, I don't think they're the best character in the game. To re-roll for them, yeah, I guess. But like, there are still some other characters here that like are still like very, very strong and can do what they do, if not better, in most circumstances. So I'm a big fan of Whitebeard and Roger. I'm having a lot of fun with the unit. There is one other unit that did come out alongside them, which is this particular character down here, the V2 Straw Hats. Now, the V2 Straw Hats come at a very strange time, because, like, Global, we only just got the V1 Straw Hats. Like, I don't even know if I've spoken about them yet. Like, that was probably another unit that I've missed, on the tier list. If I did, I do apologize. Just make sure you go back and check out my other tier lists. I can't even remember when they came out. There's just been so many legends that have come out this month because of the sync. Like, this has just been absolutely nuts. But in terms of, like, this particular character, they're very similar to the Straw Hat unit themselves. But they do very different things. They're very similar in the way that you can't bring any other character, I guess. But I actually don't have this unit. And when I have been playing with this unit, I have been using them as a friend captain. And they can do an absolutely absurd thing. Now, what I'm actually going to do here, I'm going to add a row below. There we go. And we're actually just going to call this the best friend. And they're going to sit right here. They are hands down the best friend captain in the entire game. As long as you bring a character that can hybrid up with this unit, you can just make hard content look like chump change. You can make team building look like chump change. This unit right here, this way, changes the game when it comes to team building. Their captain ability is a rainbow captain ability at 4.5 times with the crew, 5 times with the matching orb, 4.75 if you are Luffy, and that's basically it. No damage reduction, they have 1000 healing at the end of turn. No damage reduction, no matching orbs, just stock standard damage. But they also have a new ability that states if you use any class or color-based special, it changes into a rainbow-based special. So that means if you use Lucci's orb boost and base stat boost for Powerhouse underneath the Straw Hats, it becomes a rainbow orb boost and a rainbow stat boost. If you use Whitebeard and get his base stat boost, attack, and orb boost, it becomes rainbow. If you use King underneath the Straw Hats, if you use Fire Tank Pirates with their amazing switch ability and getting the attack boost that they provide for shooters and driven, if you use a Versa Kainu, you can use anyone under this unit. Like Mihawk said, Luffy's best asset and most dangerous asset is he can make a friend of anyone at the sea, and that is what should be feared most. And that is what this character does. It allows you to use any unit on the team. Any at all. Bonnie, Marco and Ace with their 2.75 times color damage attack boost. Moria with his, you can run anything you want, and it becomes rainbow under this unit. The downside to this unit is you don't need 2 of them. You straight up don't need 2 of this unit. They have a very good special, however, but the downside to their special is very counterintuitive to what the character actually does in their captain ability. And that's a big reason why you don't need 2 of this character. Because you get all the best of them by bringing a friend, and bringing a friend opens the door to you actually utilizing characters that actually belong on the Straw Hat crew. Characters like these characters, like this Straw Hats character, like Robin and Jinbe, like, who else? Luffy Sanji, Soba Mask, Sanji Pudding, Chopper. It allows you to use these characters on the crew while still getting that crazy ability to just bring whatever you want. And that's the biggest upside of this character. Their special ability rotates all orbs including block into rainbow orbs, and as long as you only have 1 positive buff or less, they are then a 2-turn attack, orb, color affinity, and chain boost to the crew at 2 times. So they do a lot of damage with their special, and you basically clear a stage with their special, provided you only have 1 buff. If you have more than 1 buff available, whether that's even like damage reduction or something like matching orbs or like anything like that, it will then trigger a orb lock and extend color affinity and all this, extend all your buffs basically, which is kind of useless. But if you are running 2 of them, it means that you can then pop 1 on stage 4, get rainbow orbs, use the second one, extend it to a 3 turns, and then lock. You guys get what I mean when you are running 2. But the problem is they provide all the damage with their special when they then allow you to bring any character on the crew for positive buffs to turn into rainbow. So I feel like this character would just be way better if they were crazy utility. If they removed 5 turns of damage reduction, defense up, threshold, or did 5 turns of special bind, paralysis, attack down, and despair. If they just did the whole kit and caboodle when it came to utility, and then relied on everyone else to do their damage, I feel like this character would just be much, much more desirable. But I'm having a lot of fun building some really janky teams with this character, clearing stuff like the Hawkins Forest, clearing stuff like Dofi 2, clearing stuff like difficult arenas, just because I can bring whatever I want on this team. As long as you bring a captain, a half-solid captain, that boosts your entire team and the Straw Hats, that's all you really need to think about. And then the rest of the team is alright, what do I need to beat the content? Let's just bring this, let's just bring this, let's bring this, let's bring this. Oh, I can use this because it's got good supports. I can use that because it's very powerful in this certain situation. This character has broken the game in terms of team building when it comes to friend captains. But another thing about this character that makes them so desirable to not only use as a friend is their final tap. Their final tap is absolutely cooked, and I do think it is by far the best final tap in the entire game. What it does is it adds as extra damage on top of their final hit, all of the damage that your crew has accumulated in the first 5 taps, scaling at a different margin depending on what level. So I think it starts at 0.4, it goes 0.4, 0.6, no, so I think it's 0.2 maybe. I can't exactly remember, but it starts at something like 0.2. So 20% of the damage that everyone else has done in that turn on top of their final hit. At level 5, it's a 1.2 times. So 120%. So if you do 50 million with your crew, it's then going to do, like what? 62 million on top of their hit as well. So they're going upwards to say like 100 mil or something like that. Absolutely absurd. It's going to be very, very good in Kizuna. Very, very strong ability. It's going to be very interesting to see what we can actually do with this unit, because like I don't feel like I still haven't unlocked another dimension with this particular character that they actually have access to. But nevertheless, I've got Roger, I'm Gucci. But this character is going to be absolutely absurd if you can max that final tap and just output just crazy, crazy numbers and just do crazy, crazy things when it comes to them. This Straw Hat here, I do think is probably more desirable to own. But I do think this Straw Hat is obviously better, if that makes sense. This Straw Hat just like does everything. I can't remember if I touched on them, but basically they can do rainbow damage in their kit. They are a rainbow captain 4 times, 5 times to themselves, and they do rainbow damage. They remove 5 turns of defense up and damage reduction. They remove 5 turns of any debuff in the game that you can choose. They delay. They do an attack boost, 2.25. They do color affinity boost. So these guys are really good as well. And just like this and this guy, they both have the downside of only being able to use all the Straw Hats. But they do have access to all of the supports though as well, which makes them very, very good. They do have a super switch as well. Their super switch kind of is okay. Their switch sucks, just removes paralysis and slot bind on themselves. And gives them a matching orb through block orb, which is kind of nice. But their super switch removes 4 turns of paralysis and 4 turns of ship bind. I think I said despair when I first started talking about them. But it's actually 4 turns of ship bind. So, not a bad super switch. But out of the two, I think Roger is more desirable to own. But in terms of just making content easy mode, this particular Luffy and Straw Hats is very, very good. They give themselves 4 turns of cooldown. Actually, I forgot to mention in their captain. But they're on like a 17-turn cooldown with their special. So that kind of sucks as well. But the two New Year's Legends are very, very cool. They're very interesting. Unfortunately, the banner put a massive dampen on the actual event, as well as like the lead up to the event. Like, it feels like a very poorly handled event, but we'll have to wait and see how they sort of resolve things in the future. But that's going to wrap up the video anyway, guys. I do apologize that it was a bit of a long one today because of all of the new characters. Like 15 characters to get through. I think we did some pretty good time. Let me know what you think about the tier list. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I always like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions, and any constructive criticism is greatly appreciated and highly encouraged. I love to chat about Legends. I love to chat about the game, so don't be afraid to let yourself be known in the comment section below. While you're down there, though, don't forget to smash that like button for me, and if you are new, hit that big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Later!